Okay, mic test please, guys. How is everyone? Good, good. Just a quick recap, guys, before we move on. For yesterday, Monday the 4th of June, we did have a few setups. Okay, we were watching 3 or 4 setups. They all would have delivered some kind of profit. They're all reasonable. But I watched them for quite a few hours last night. I watched them until the 10 o'clock candle. They were obviously, as we sort of suspected, US setups because the bank holiday in London. So it was fairly quiet for most of the time. And although, and we'll have a closer look at these pairs as we come across them, there wasn't anything amazing at the time. Like nothing jumped out at me and said, "Yep, let's take that trade as well." So I was happy to leave it with the Aussie CAD. Our entry candle, there was a nice pennant that formed during the day. There it is there. Move to the upside. When we started trading at this time yesterday, it had already formed this big blue or this confirmation candle, which is the breakout candle from this consolidation. Also the bounce off weekly pivot and mid-band. So it sort of ticked all the boxes for us. We took the trade with a buy stop here. We could have got in at a better price, but we're just patient. It went sideways for a few hours. The US market kicked in. It didn't even look back. It didn't even blink. It went straight to T1, our first target up here. What was it, about 30 odd pips, I think, in distance. If you're into the pips. And then this morning, when I got up to check the market to see how we were going, it was actually down here. No, where was it? It was about here somewhere. So if you exited, you would have taken one full unit. If you did exit, there's nothing wrong with it. It means you just stuck to your plan. Absolutely fine. The only reason I didn't exit at the time was because here's our entry, right? Here's our stop. Once we took T1, this didn't exist. Our stop was here, so it was a free trade. Now, it was sitting up here. That's right, it was above it because we had monthly pivot. We had the previous high, and we had 10100 round number. That time of the day, I was of the belief that it was going to stay above support, which it did. So I was like, well, the worst thing that can happen here is we get taken out for half a unit. So I was happy just to remain in that trade, and we don't do that often, but sometimes when all the planets line up, it's worth it. Also, there was no divergence against the trade. So from here to here, you often get divergence or a warning signal to get out, but in this case, we didn't have it. Okay, we actually had a signal in favour of staying in. It developed after the fact, but we had hidden divergence or positive divergence in favour of the position. So it was, don't even worry about it. The monthly pivot, as I suspected, was going to hold, and it did. It was very, very close here, wasn't it? The Aussie news came out. I don't know which way it went first, but it was very, very close to our stop, like I'm talking maybe 1 or 2 pips. But it didn't take us out, and it went up and closed at our second target. So it was a nice trade. It ended up being a full profitable 1.5 units or 90 odd pips, whatever it was. So a nice trade for Monday. And that was the only trade that we took for yesterday. So it was a good start to the week. So did anybody else exit early following your plan? There's nothing wrong with it, guys. It just missed T2 the night before. Like, I'm talking, some of you may have even got it. Okay, so Peter. Yeah, it was very, very close to T2 anyway. So I was happy, and that was another thing that I was thinking. At the very least, this may want to revisit the highs, which was basically our T2. So there's every chance for a tag. Anyway, it worked out. If you got if you jumped out, you still made a unit. If you're hanging there, you made 1.5. Beautiful. It was good all round. Yeah, and that was our only trade.